this is gonna be. He's hung up, and he really, I done that scratching in the leaves, and he still won't come. And I've been doing a lot of other stuff, and he won't come. This is what I go to right here. I go to a fighting purr.
So now, what about when, like you were saying, when one hangs up? For instance?
Well, here's, if you'll look at all these holes in it, most of the time we'll take it and we'll control it, That's the sound coming out of it. But if I take make the same amount of pressure with it in my hands, it ain't. It's
You're
gonna
just
really
palming
quiet. Just gonna quiet. That's why I love to make that tree call. And all I'm doing is I'm drawing little bitty footballs. Holding my peg, here's 12 o'clock. I'm holding my peg at 1:30, 15 degrees away from me, and never pick up. That's the problem that the guys have with the pegs. A lot of times they want to pick that peg up, but keep that peg pressure on it when you're running it. And then sometimes that turkey hangs up out there. I'll get where I move my finger a little bit. Just
here, hold it up a little bit higher for your camera. Yeah,
Okay.
Do it right there.
Now listen to the difference when I just move my finger down. It's kind of like I like to change the tone on it like that. It's kind of like my wife, a lot of times I go in and I love to drink sweet tea, and I'll go in after the day I've been turkey hunting or doing stuff out, and I'm sitting there on the bar drinking tea, and she'll be telling me stuff that went on with her. She'll just be motor mouthing, man. She'll just be telling me things that, and I've had stuff going on my turkey hunt or whatever. And I'm kind of blocking her out. I ain't even listening to her. She's just motor mouthing, And then all at once she said, "Well, what did you think about what I was telling you a while ago?" And I ain't got a clue. And I'll just say, "Whoa, okay, I heard you, but tell me again." To start with, she was real sweet with that voice. But right now, that voice is just blowing up now. I mean, you can tell that she's got disturbed because I wasn't listening to her real good. And what she's doing is, same way with a turkey. When that turkey changes her vocals and it goes from high to low, she said, "You better listen to me now." And it's the same way my wife was saying, "You better listen to me." She's that old Gobbler, "You better listen to me." And a lot of times you get his attention. "Yes, ma'am, I heard you a while ago, but tell me again. I got it now." And that's the same way with the turkey. If you think about it and relate to just common life, relate to some of the same things. But anyhow, learning to change that volume can really, you can pick it up and go into aggressive hen yelps like that. But, let's talk about some serious stuff here. When that turkey really hung up out there, one of the things that I like to do is just that little old clucking purr. But a lot of times and then I'll take my hands and I'll run it down and scratching the leaves. I'll just move the leaves around, and he hear them leaves. And so many times I've actually, when I was clucking and purring, and I'd quit purring, and then and he'd gobble at me scratching in the leaves. And guys, if he ever gobbled at me scratching in the leaves, I don't know if I'd ever even call to him anymore. I'd lay the call down and just scratch him on up. It's a call itself. It's just like a hen yelp or a clucking purr. It's a call itself. We need to give it a name. Hen scratching, and that's what it is. But you can, run them together. And a lot of times I've actually they would be hung up and I'd start, clucking and purring a little bit, and then he'd gobble at me scratching. And I know I'm repeating myself, but I would never call no more. I'd let him come on in there. And I've killed a lot of turkeys with just that call right there. And, I probably killed a pickup load of turkeys with this call right here, guys. I mean, this is something that I have been very successful with. And make sure I got my mouth call in correctly here. All right. This is going to be, he's hung up and he really, I done that scratching in the leaves and he still won't come. And I've been doing a lot of other stuff and he won't come. This is what I go to right here. I go to a fighting purr. And these blue jeans are a little slickier in my old hunting pants. And I'll take my hat and beat my legs. And, you know, sometimes, or either if my hunting buddies with, and guys, I'm telling you, it's poison. Just a couple years ago in Mississippi, I had caught up 7 gobblers. One morning, I had 2 boys out there, and the boy had never killed a turkey, and he'd run the turkeys off. And they went around, it was on the power line. It was about 18 degrees that morning. I like to froze to death. And I was sitting there, best gobbling morning I ever heard in my life, up there close to Pontotoc, Mississippi. And it was a cane break. You know how sometimes it was in a little swampy area, but it was canes breaking on both sides. And it was a little thick over there, and them gobblers got over there and went to gobbling. And I must have heard 25 to 30 different turkeys gobbling off in the distance. These would gobble every time I'd get up to them, and they wouldn't come in there. So I went to doing that fighting purr, and my buddy, I told him, I said, beat your leg with your hat. And he went to hitting his leg, pop, 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 pop. And I went to doing that fighting purr, and they run in there. And we had some decoys set out, and they run in there and got on that decoy and went to beating the decoy. And both of them killed turkeys. Opening day in Mississippi 2 years ago. And we wouldn't have never brought it. I'd sit there forever, seemed like, and they would never come in. But I went to doing that fighting purr. And guys, look here. I know I'm talking a lot about it, but in early season, I'm going to say the first 2 weeks of season, if you'll get into doing, if turkeys hang up and you have trouble, if you'll learn to do that fighting purr, I promise you'll be a lot of turkeys riding your truck with you.
Man, hunting the last week of this deer season in Alabama, I heard that.
Oh, yeah.
It sounded just like that.
Could you explain for the audio and video listeners exactly what you were doing, specifically with your friction call, your pot call?
Yeah.
How you were doing that? Because you're running a mouth call and 2 strikers.
Yeah.
So can you explain?
Yeah, what I'm doing is I'm trying to sound like 3 turkeys. Mm-hmm. I'm just, and all I'm doing is, you just get you, and I actually too, my hunting call, I actually take and put a band or like a rubber band around it, and it sets in there, and that rubber will help me hold it in between my legs real good. And all this is doing is I'm just dragging it and just, but you want to hold it, you want to hold the peg up high. But then you throw that mouth call. And I ain't doing nothing special to get that out of it. All I'm doing is just taking it and holding it up high and just, putting a little more pressure on it. And then a mouth call, man, purring with a mouth call probably was one of the hardest things for me to learn to do. And just. And all I'm doing is fluttering my tongue. I'm taking my tip end of my tongue and I'm rolling it up, and I'm hitting that latex about middle ways, and I'm vibrating my tongue. It's kind of like you hear old Jake brakes on the truck, but you're fluttering your tongue to get that, and then you add a little bit to it. But all I'm doing.